Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Believe in Bills. Adam Benini, Sal Mayorana, and very happy to be joined today by Phil Simms, man who needs no introduction, two-time Super Bowl champion quarterback, New York Giants, terrific broadcast career that continues with the Believe Network. The Simms Complete with his son, Matt. You can get it here on the Believe Network of shows. Phil, thank you so much for taking the time to join.
Hey, my pleasure. Always good to talk to the people of Buffalo and to you guys. And, it's funny. Buffalo is just one of those teams I always follow. And it really became, it's not just the Josh Allen time, but it was before that. So maybe because it's in New York, I don't know what it is, but it's pretty special. And all the times I'd go up there and do games, I just have to say this. I just go, this is a different world. And I loved it, the passion, and everybody in the town, everywhere I went, all I saw was Bill jerseys. Everybody loves their team. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I follow them as close as I can with 32 teams in the NFL.
Yeah, they're one of the great fan bases in the NFL. And, things got revved up a little bit this week with the trade for Amari Cooper. They get off to a 4-2 start. I'm sure you saw that Jet game down there. Despite some shortcomings in the passing game and a lot of injuries or whatever, they get off to the 4-2 start. But we'll start there with the Cooper trade. They move on from Stephon Diggs in the offseason.
Right.
That relationship had deteriorated. They bring him in. What does an Amari Cooper add to this Buffalo offense?
Well, I think first, and there are many things: size, great experience, great production, all those things. I do watch the Cleveland Brown games too, and I just all the time kind of catch my thinking or saying, why don't they get Amari Cooper a little more involved here? And this is just me watching what I see on TV, which I have a hard time watching full games, but I watch it on tape too, and I just go, I just don't understand why there's not more. And I guess I see the body language too. He doesn't feel confident he's going to get the ball. So he's going to get a chance in Buffalo. Does it help the football team? Absolutely. If nothing else, the defense is going to look at him and go, oh, there's Amari Cooper here. He's pretty damn good. And I'm sure they'll design plays and find ways to get him involved, probably somewhat quick, just to make him feel more comfortable. But it was a needed and really good pickup by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Phil, when you looked at the Bills over their first 6 games, did you recognize that this was a team that really needed to get a number one guy?
Yes, yeah. I did. I think it really came to fruition for me, without a doubt, was down in Houston. I said, okay, this is going to be – how's it going to work? And I thought playing against the New York Jets, Sal, that – it was going to be really rough. It actually worked out better. But then I go back and watch the game. Yeah, it worked out because Josh Allen moved and made these throws. And Ray Davis, what the hell was he doing 45 yards down the field? I don't know, but he caught it, and Josh getting out of the pocket, making plays. So it didn't eliminate what I was thinking. But with Amari Cooper, and it happens. When you see a good receiver on the team, it's not a cliche. It will help other guys. Because let's just say he comes in and he is an impact. Well, what are they going to do to the rest of the guys? They got to be careful. Now we got to maybe double team him, little things like that. So it was needed. And probably I was a little surprised that Buffalo did it. For just this real quick is that I thought the Bills, and I didn't look at the money and all that stuff. I think I heard it on TV, that this was a year they were going to clean the cap up and then move forward once again with Josh for the good years that he has ahead of him. So they made this move that tells you that they think, hey, no matter what, we can compete for this in the AFC.
Well, you look at, they moved on from Diggs, and you're exactly right. This is what the reason was. They moved on from his salary this year. They ate the big cap hit because it clears the decks for next year. He's off the books completely. Right. And I think a lot of us in the media and in the fan base here thought the Bills, not that they're taking a step back because they're still going to be a competitive team, but it felt like they were sort of gearing up to make a run next year. Compete, they can still win this division in 24, but next year, maybe go get your top wide receiver. And I think, like we said, in the first 6 games, you saw it, I saw it, Adam saw it, they weren't going to be able to get it done with the wide receiver group they had, which is why they kind of made this move.
Yeah, and it's a move that I don't know. I didn't look at the contract for Amari Cooper and all that. I'm sure it's favorable for the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, that must be an incredibly tough thing to do as a general manager, coaching staff, however you come upon these decisions that like we might have to take a step back. Now we know we're still going to coach hard. We're going to try to do all these other things, but reality is reality. When sometimes you don't have the dudes, you're not going to win. So it hit me when this came about, but this is something I think they see the landscape and go, what is out there that really scares you? Well, one that would scare me is the Baltimore Ravens. That would be first and foremost, especially against the Bills, what we saw. But I think they're looking at it in another way, that they can hang into all these games with a style of play, a good offensive line, a pretty damn good run game. And just I guess my biggest thing about the Bills is always this. There's just a damn toughness to them. I don't know I see it, and I saw it against the Jets. They just kind of out-toughed them, running the ball and just flying to the football, making friggin' tackles. And I was like, wow, some of those tackles, I flinch even watching it on TV. So they got a lot of great qualities that it looks like they're going to try to take advantage of it even more.
Well, and that's it. I mean, the way you described, you said something, a comment or two ago, that an addition of an Amari Cooper helps other guys.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you look at the receiving core, the way they have it, they go out and get a Keon Coleman in the draft, for example.
Right.
But he's not really a downfield guy. He's more of a guy that might replace a Gabe Davis, for example. You have Khalil Shakir, who's a terrific, Josh Allen's most reliable receiver at this point, but really does his best work in the slot. Right. You have a dynamic tight end in Dalton Kincaid. Think of what being able to stretch the field. They just couldn't take the top off of defense. Right now, they've got a guy who can go deep and open things up underneath for a guy like Kincaid. So there's a trickle-down effect, and I think that's what you're alluding to, Phil, yes, where all of a sudden the other members of that receiving core and the tight ends, now they're more into roles that actually fit their skill sets, and it makes the team kind of exponentially more dangerous from an offensive standpoint. And I'm just interested in your sort of take on that as a former quarterback of the National Football.
Well, Adam, you're right. Now they can put and place guys in the spots they should be in, instead of going, whatever, you're not this, but we're going to have to play you there to be this. And even though it doesn't really fit your skill set, but you got to do it because we don't have all the dudes. And, this is always said when I watch it, I didn't, they had trouble getting away from defenders. Well, that's kind of a blanket statement I hear all the time, even from me, but it was true. And it really was. And there were a couple games I just went, wow, how are the Bills going to be able to compete and be a championship thinking team if they can't get receivers when they get one-on-one? You got to win those matches, not all the time, but a good percentage. But you say it right. Amari Cooper is a big dude. And also he's not just a guy that can do everything. He can win the battle. I mean, last year, I just remember watching him. Of course, it happened, most of it with Joe Flacco, but he was making those contested catches. He's big. He can sometimes, it's not about getting open. He'll just stick his rear end out there and push you away a little and find a way to get a good throw. And Josh Allen can make those power throws to what I want to say is somewhat covered receivers where they can win because of their physicality, their size, and placement of the football. All that works out, I think, for the Buffalo Bills with Amari Cooper.
Hey, Phil, I wanted to ask you, because Dalton Kincaid is kind of a hot topic around Buffalo. They spent a first-round pick on him, and we were told that this guy, they were going to eventually perhaps run their offense the way the Chiefs do through Travis Kelce. He had that kind of skill set. But we've talked about it numerous times on our show already, and it just doesn't seem like the Bills have been able to do that yet. He's making some catches. He had 73 last year, but they were mostly low-impact plays. He hasn't really been the dynamic. For instance, Laporta has made a lot of those plays for Detroit. And I wanted to ask you, because you had Bavaro back in the day, who could have played today. The way he plays then, he could have played today. How important for a Josh Allen is it to have Dalton Kincaid be like a Mark Bavaro or a Travis Kelce in this offense?
He could be. Listen, I didn't like him coming out of college. I loved him. Okay, I watched him. I said, wow, he's clearly the best tight end in the draft, I thought, and he will be an immediate impact. And, I look at the Bills. I actually thought this watching the Jet game. I go, damn, they're running the football almost at will, like better than I even expected, though the Jets are not great at stopping the run. But when you run the football, the number one thing always comes to me is the tight end. And you know what we're seeing a little bit? Finally in Atlanta, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's not that he underachieves. They're just not designing some plays for him maybe. But now we're seeing it come alive a little bit more. One, because of the quarterback, a different system. So there's got to be a way for Kincaid to be a bigger impact on the games. And I really thought when Diggs was gone, this is my first, I said, it doesn't matter. The number one receiver is going to be, Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah,
but
that's what we thought. That's exactly what we thought. It really hasn't manifested itself, though. He has not been an impact player yet.
Right. Hey, Joe Barrett, it's time, got to do it. And there's many teams to look at and copy what they do with their tight ends. I mean, I still see almost every single week concepts by football teams throwing the football that are imitating what Hernandez and Gronk did in New England. The exact same plays. And, they hit it for these big gains. I go, well, damn, when you see the formation, what the hell do you think they were going to do or whatever? And I could see that with Buffalo. I think they have at least two tight ends that you can put them in positions where they can make dynamic catches down the field. That's just my thought.
All right, quick word from the sponsor here as we continue. Adam and Sal, Believe in Bills, and our guest today is Phil Simms. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. Phil, let's take a moment and talk about Josh Allen. Before we started recording, we remembered back to that 2018 draft where the Bills traded up to select him 7th overall. And coming out of Wyoming, all kinds of questions about his accuracy and that sort of a thing, but built for the weather in Buffalo. And
right,
boy, has he become one of the elite QBs in the game. And I was on with Chris Collinsworth for an NBC pregame show that we had done in Buffalo a couple of years back. And he said the biggest thing that stood out to him was it's rare that you see a quarterback as inaccurate as Josh was in college become as accurate as he is and has been in the National Football League. So between that and his mobility, I'm just interested in your thoughts on Josh Allen, where he is now and how his game has evolved over the years.
Well, it's a good thing y'all didn't have me on with Chris. We'd have a nice argument there. I didn't see all that in college. Yeah, he missed throws for a couple of reasons. One, I watched one in a blinding snowstorm, and he's throwing rockets all over the field. And I actually called somebody at CBS. Are you watching this? Who is it? What? And it was one of my first things in the high wind. Now he threw to a bunch of NFL players at wide receiver. Yeah, right. But in fact, was he the only person drafted off the team the year he came out? And I get wrong on quarterbacks all the time. Everybody does. But my two favorite quarterbacks in that draft, without even question, not even thinking, were Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And damn, did I get crushed over it. People killing me. People I even knew, hey, I can't believe you. And I just wanted to say, shut up. I don't know what to say. But I liked him a lot. Here's why he's more accurate. Decision-making and speed of the ball. He throws the ball now. I mean, if he threw it as hard as he can, even Amari Cooper would drop some of them. So pacing of the football and decision-making and learning to take a check down. The year he came out, I'm not going to be exact. Baker Mayfield was in that draft, right?
Mm-hmm. Number one.
Baker Mayfield, I don't know if the number's right. He threw 84 screen passes at Oklahoma. 84. Josh Allen threw 12. Okay. So if you did the numbers, all of a sudden he became like a whatever. I forgot what his thing was in college, but it went up dramatically. And I think he hit 10 of those 12. So that helped his passing percentage. So, yeah, we can take all that stuff sometimes, judge the guy, don't judge the system, don't judge the players around him, and take some of those statistics and all that stuff. And come on, just get a better feel for it and judge them what you think they really can be.
It's weird, Phil, because he does. He's got a rocket arm. He can throw the ball downfield as well as anybody in the NFL. But do you find it, I don't know if it's strange or what, that through the years – the Bills have not put together a nice short passing game. They haven't given him those easy button throws, it seems like. I mean, we see the Bills every week struggle to stop screens on defense. And you just get to wondering, why can't the Bills have a screen game like that. You've got James Cook, who's a good runner after he catches the ball. From a quarterback's perspective, are we missing something here? Is it really that difficult to put together a screen game with a guy like Josh Allen?
No, it's not. I don't think it is. I mean, look, it's offensive linemen and everybody else blocking. I understand that, but every team in the NFL is running a ton of screens. Now, the one thing they do, he does a little play action and throws the ball in the swing passes. That's their idea of the screens and everything. So do they do it enough? I don't know. Maybe they could even do it more because there's such a focus on the quarterback to where he's going to throw it. We got to make sure he doesn't get out of the pocket, stuff like that. So, yeah, I see some games, every game, maybe even with Denver last night, I'm not sure. But it's a fake, throw a screen, a couple of them, and get everybody involved, get the offense rolling, and give the quarterback some confidence. And believe it or not, even completing a screen pass as a quarterback, I felt good. I got it tonight. It really is a big deal. There's nothing like hitting a couple passes right off the start and maybe taking a hit and still completing the pass. That's another thing that gets you going. And that's why I think if you got a quarterback like Josh Allen, even in New York, run the quarterback early, let him get some hits, let him protect himself, but it gets you into the football game. And I think they need to do that more.
All right, thought on Sean McDermott. For all the success, he's 4 straight division titles, and the program they've built in Buffalo since 2017, and the consistency of the wing speaks for itself, certainly at a very significant level. But then he takes a lot of heat, right, for some in-game decision making. The final possession in Houston, 3 straight incompletions, 16 seconds off the clock. They lose on a last-second field goal, the Hail Mary at the half against the Jets and that sort of a thing. But Sean McDermott, the job he's done and the consistency this team has shown, just your take on where he ranks and stands among NFL head coaches.
I'm not going to he has had some bad decisions. The 2-man rush against the Hail Mary. Look, I did Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary in Detroit on a Thursday night. And I swear to you, I just remember, I said, if you rush 3, he's going to move out of the pocket, buy time, and throw one 8 miles up in the air into the end zone. It's the worst thing you could do. So I can't imagine I kind of understand the 2. I know, protect the sideline, do this, all that. You can't do it all. And so when I saw that rush, I went, oh, well, he's going to get a clean route to throw it. And if you rush 4, he wouldn't have been able to buy time to heave it to the end zone. That would have been my argument. If I was doing the game, it would have been out of my mouth in 1 second when I saw it. You can't do that. But, some of those decisions, how they ended the game against Kansas City in the playoff game, I don't think I'll ever get over that one, how that was a colossal mistake. But Sean McDermott is a leader of men, and I covered him a lot. I used to, when he was at Carolina, I was doing a Thursday night game. I tried all week to get to him. What's going on? Never got him. He calls me back when I'm going to the game in the car to the game. I said, oh, hey, coach. Well, thanks for calling me back. It's 3 days later, but that's okay. And I just said, okay, you and I talked, right? He goes, yes, we did. I said, and whatever I say, I'm going to do the right. You're good, Phil. I said, hey, great talk. Thanks, Sean. And we moved on. That was my interviews with him. But I think I had so much respect for him. I just want him to know that I'm going to try to tell the truth, and I understand. And are you okay with that? Trust in me. And I'm good, Phil. You good? Yeah, we're good. Have good luck tonight. See you later. And, that 20-second conversation was always a lot of fun. And everybody in the car would laugh when I get off. They were with me. So, but I don't know. Just watching his career, watching him on the sideline, I did get annoyed with some of the things that happened in the game, the fouls, the jumping, before the ball snapped, the illegal procedures. That stuff does bother me because I just think of Bill Parcells. I always do about all this stuff. You walk in there the next morning, man, boy, he would just blister people. I just blister them. We could win 30-0. He's going to find something bad to talk about. Yeah. And I just think about that. I don't feel that as much in today's game as I did back then. And I always hear this from everybody. You guys hear it too, I'm sure. We're going to hold them accountable. Yeah, I hear the players say it, the coaches, but I don't see it as much as I I'm not one of those guys either. I'm not trying to, when I played, I don't care. It's a different world, different game, different athletes. But I think there is some of that. They're not held accountable as much as they used to be.
I got to ask you, since we got you here, and it was my first year covering the Bills full time, 1990.
Okay.
I'm down in New York when you got hurt against the Bills, and that knocked you off for the rest of the season.
By the way, Sal, let me just say this. My foot still hurts to this day.
I'm sure it does. Look, I know you didn't play in that Super Bowl. You had to watch Hostetler do it. But going into that game, the Bills were just overwhelming favorites by so many people, fan base, media, because of the no-huddle offense and how that evolved that year. Take me inside the locker room. How confident were you guys with Parcells that you were still going to win that game? Just tell me how confident you guys were.
Oh, it was off the charts.
Really?
I still had a cast on my leg, and I hobbled in there, and I'm watching practice and listening to the meetings, and I go, Jumbo Elliott, they tortured him the whole week. Lawrence Taylor was just full speed against him because they were trying to get him ready for Bruce Smith. I knew what they were going to do on the defensive side. That made sense. And I knew we were going to suck the life out of the game by running the football. I mean, we basically did that almost the whole year. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. In the second drive of a game in 1990, we're playing the Dolphins. We kick a field goal. The opening drive, we took like 7 minutes off the clock. I'm walking on the field, and Parcells goes, "Hey, Sims." And I look, I knew what he's going to say. He goes, "The clock." He was already managing the game in the first quarter, and I'm pretty close. We held the ball for over 40 minutes in the game, and Dan Marino scored 3 points because that's what they were worried about. Let's keep Dan off the field, and we did that. But so the confidence was high, and the orchestration of the game. Can't orchestrate the missed field goal, I understand. But the orchestration of the game overall by the Giants on both sides of the ball was really good.
Let me ask
Bill Belichick's game plan's in the Hall of Fame. From that, is it? I mean, it was obviously don't let the K-gun offense do what it does.
Yeah,
and they'll win the football game is essentially what
it really was. Belichick. That's the great thing about let's say we played the Bills. That's one thing. You said it right. But we'd play the 49ers and we'd play conservative one game, and then we'd play them in the playoff game. Hell, we blitzed Joe Montana to death. And, so he was not afraid to make these big changes and create new game plans for the football team. It's one of the reasons why we won 2 Super Bowls, because of all that thinking by him and Bill Parcells and Ron Earhart, who could teach it either way. We're going to throw it every down or run it every down. We'll make it work. So coaching's a big deal in the NFL. That's another thing I can say. It's a really big deal.
Let me ask you this too. As a quarterback, would you have loved to have played in a no-huddle K-gun like Kelly was able to play? Would you have just eaten that up and loved it? Or do you think it was better off the way you guys played for you personally?
Well, I think history says the way we played was pretty good. We blew a couple we had some good teams in 88 and 89, and I helped us lose against the Rams in a playoff game, and the coaches and our defense let us down in 88. So I'll blame them. But of course I would love to do it. It's like the 2-minute offense, and it's fun for the quarterback for many reasons, because when you do that, like they were doing it, it just kind of keeps you like, oh my God, here it comes. It keeps coming. And you got to be on your toes even more. It's not many runs to go with it, or there was, but that's what you think. So Jim Kelly was great at it. It was kind of the first of its kind, caught a lot of people off guard, and they were very successful with it. And, they had a lot of successes against us in the Super Bowl. The game, when you look back, I've watched it before. We did kind of the same thing. We just tried to muddy it up and make it ugly, and made the plays when it counted to win the game, and get lucky at the end too.
All right. So from the past to the present, as we wrap this up here, to what degree, particularly with the addition of Cooper now, how much of a contender do you consider these Buffalo Bills? And I think
it changes thing. It does. When I watch the defense, I think it's willing to take chances when it's appropriate. I think they hustle and play really hard and fast and all that. I do like that. I wish sometimes I just go, wow, I wish it was a bigger defense too. I still got that in my head about the Giants. You want two things. You want them big and you want them fast. And but I think he definitely will change the football team. He'll change play calling. And I think the biggest thing I'll look forward to is once it gets going, it's going to take a couple games before we really see it. But how's it going to help out everybody else? And, Joe Barry, I keep thinking it's Joe Barry, right? I don't know why I'm the offensive coordinator, right?
Joe Brady.
Damn, I knew I said Joe Barry. It doesn't sound right. Joe Brady. God almighty. I followed him at LSU. I saw him at Carolina for that 1 year. But he's done a really good job. And I know they'll find ways to help out Amari Cooper. But it'll be interesting to see how it translates to the rest of receivers in the game and how it helps them.
All right. So, Phil, thank you so much for your time. And tell us a little bit before we let you go here. Tell us about your show, Sims Complete, that you and Matt do here for the Believe Network.
Well, first off, I'm writing Joe Brady's name down because, damn, that was a break. I was thinking about it a couple of times. If you didn't notice, I was talking around it because I think, damn, what the hell is it? Brady? Joe Barry did not sound right. Sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to do that because I think you're doing a hell of a job. But, my son, Matt. Well, we do one every Monday. We do the Giants and Jets every week. And we started the thing this past week, top quarterbacks of the week. But it's not like their QBR. Like we were laughing before. I couldn't give two craps about your QBR. But like this past week, it was Brock Purdy. He was our winner. It's not because the way he moved around and threw the ball and all that in the game was almost funny. Like, one of the guys we gave honorable mention to or third, I'm not sure, was Baker Mayfield because he threw 3 interceptions and it didn't faze him. He kept chucking it. He's throwing it into tight windows because Baker doesn't care. He might give you 20 points on the defensive side, but he's going to get 30. And the best thing I ever heard about him, I laugh every time I watch him play because he's so aggressive. They asked Todd Bowles, how do you describe Baker Mayfield? And he says, well, a big smile comes to his face. He goes, if I told him to go over there and stick his face into a fan, he would. That's the kind of QB you want, man. Yeah. Who's just all in, and he is. So, I mean, we're doing that. We're going to start doing that, having a little fun with the quarterbacks and talking about guys, not just their stats, but certain things they bring to the game. So it's a lot of fun. Love doing it with my son.
Yeah. Might have a little bit of credibility, right? Right, Sal? They might know what they're talking about.
They probably know more than you and I do, Adam. That's for sure.
Well, maybe. I don't know. We think. See, the best thing about always is that we think we know more. Okay, confidence. It's like playing. Even though I'm doing this in the game, I still feel great. So 3 interceptions. I mean, if I threw 3 interceptions like Baker, hell, I'd have a hard time even handing the ball off after that. It's amazing to see the different quarterbacks, the style of play, the different offenses and all that. I was talking to Boomer Esiason.
Yeah.
Minnesota, San Francisco, Detroit, they're a quarterback's dream. Yeah. The coaches get them. The coaches says, look, the worst you can do is probably 65% completion here. So if you want to get better, make some special throws or whatever. But their offenses are tremendous for their teams and their quarterbacks. And not to say that they're the only 3, but they're 3 that stand out to a lot of quarterbacks who are not playing anymore. So.
All right. Well, listen, Phil, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
All right. And, thank you, Sal. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. Love it. Hope it keeps working for you. I want the bill. Everybody, there's haters out there. But overall, people love the Bills as I travel or whatever I do, just because it's exciting. And it is truly the Josh Allen effect. Mm-hmm. It is. He was playing in that game in Baltimore his rookie year, right? That's his first game?
Yep.
Came in and relieved Peterman, I think.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
So we're at CBS and Boomer's over there and I'm there. It might have been my first year. I don't know what in the studio. And I'm looking at the game and, all the games. I just kept looking. I go, Boomer. He goes, what? I said, are you watching the Buffalo Bills? He goes, yeah. I said, I can't take my eyes off of it. It's unbelievable. It's like a train wreck. It's a great play. Look at that. Oh, I mean, we were laughing at Josh Allen, how wild he was playing. And, of course, he's calmed it down. But I just remember that like it was yesterday. The first game he ever walked into, you could see this is different. a different player in the NFL.
So I got to tell you, my start of my career, Jim Kelly was the quarterback of the Bills.
Right.
It was the greatest. It was so much fun to cover that team. Then we had 17 years of pure hell, and now it's come full circle. And I'm ending my career covering Josh Allen. It really has been a ride.
Right.
I'll tell you.
Hey, I'll say this. You said it right. That team was really good, all those teams, but it was the characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were. That was like they were playing in the 1950s.
Yeah.
The way they acted, who they were.
Hey, Phil, you must have loved down in Tampa when you heard that Bruce and Daryl and all those guys were hitting the clubs in Tampa that whole week, right? I mean, that was a big friggin' deal on game day. You must have loved hearing that because the Giants were veterans. You guys weren't doing that crap.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Well, LT was. I guess LT was.
No, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into who and what. But when we were out in Pasadena, I knew a lot of our players, what they were doing. And I got I was on the bus because I'm listening to the stories going to practice. And, they were hilarious stories. But I go, what the hell are you guys doing? I go, man, we're going to lose the damn game. And Lawrence, I think it was Lawrence, says to me, oh, don't worry. The Broncos are out with us, and they're worse than we are. And it's true. I went, it was like, oh, okay. I really did. I said, oh, okay. I feel a little better. So, but those things.
It's a different era. It's a different era. I remember bringing up the 90s teams to Sean McDermott. Sal, you were probably there. It was the beginning of training camp or whatever. And I'm like, Sean, those guys were characters. And Sean just kind of looked at me and he was like, yeah, he kind of nodded his head. That was a different era back then. I'm not sure how well it would fly in a McDermott locker room today.
All right. You got time for 30 seconds?
Sure.
We do.
Okay. So I do the Bills game. I get on the plane. We rush to the airport. We get on the plane. We're sitting there. I said, damn, why are we taking off? There can't be too many planes there in Buffalo on the runway. And all of a sudden, the doors opens, and who comes in? Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Daryl Talley, Thurman Tom. I mean, every one of them comes walk. I go, what are you guys doing? Well, we got a couple of days off. We decided to go to New York for a few days. And I said, oh, my God, you guys are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, so that kind of course, they won the game that Sunday, and they won the next game because I paid attention to it. So they were great characters. And you know what? They were all good people, too, which makes it even better. So,
yeah. All right, Phil. Great start, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks
all right,
for
Sal Majorana and Phil Simms. This is Adam Benini. Thank you so much for being with us here on Believe in Bills.
All right.